Hey everyone, it's Tanya, DropDeadGory here, and today we're going over this slit throat extreme gore look. And we're going to be using some special effects products, but don't worry, you can do this with many other different ways, methods, cheaper alternatives that you can find at the Halloween store, and I'm going to be going over with all of those options with you here today. And yeah, I'm just going to show you this nice slit throat look. And the cool thing about it is if you want to do this for Halloween parties or things like that, you can actually reuse it. So this is an old one that I did that I saved. So I wanted to create this look for you today, which is why I did a new one. But if you have different parties, you can literally just wash it and adhese it back on and put the blood on and you'd be good to go. So here is my old one, and this is what we're going to be doing today. We're actually going to be making our own prosthetic. I have blood, fake blood all over my hands. So we're going to be making our own fake prosthetic. We're just going to be adding a ton of blood. I put some in my mouth to look like it was kind of like gurgling up and like dripping down, but you don't have to do that. Make sure you're wearing a shirt that you don't really care about because it's gonna get bloody. And yeah, this would be really good if you just want to do a picture, or if you wanted to you know, wear this as your costume, whatever, if you want to just blood it up. So yeah, we're gonna be going into how to do this look right now. So if you want to see how to do this extreme gory Halloween look, or just a special effects tutorial, then just keep on watching.
Alright, so to start off, I am taking a mauve colored lip liner. You can use anything for this step. You can use eyeshadow, blush, with a pencil brush, whatever you want, just something to map out the guidelines that we're going to follow for our slit throat. So I'm making this kind of jagged. My whole goal here was to make it look as if there was kind of a struggle. It wasn't just how you see in the movies where it's just and then the blood starts dripping and it's just one clean slit. I didn't want that, so that's why it's pretty jagged. So I'm just going in with that. Now I am using a product called Third Degree. It's 2 parts, and you don't want to mix them, so we'll get into that. But this is just basically a silicone modeling compound, so you don't want to mix the two. You don't want to cross-contaminate because it will ruin your product, and this is quite pricey. So I'm just taking a little piece of cardboard and mixing it on there because it will destroy whatever you put it on. So I am just taking a popsicle stick, doing part A, and then another popsicle stick, part B, and then a third popsicle stick, and then I am just mixing the two together. And like I said, this is a silicone modeling compound. You do not have to use this product. We'll get into ways where you can use other methods and such, but this is a really good one. And the good thing about it is you can reuse it, which we'll also get into. So I am basically just working around that lip liner marking that we created. So I'm building it up. It's a little hard to see, but you will see it in the end when I put paint on it, but just try to get a good idea. The good thing about gore is that you can, you know, kind of tweak it and make it however you want to look. It doesn't have to be perfect. So just kind of make a formation that you think looks good. And you do have some playtime with this. It does dry quite quickly, but you do have some playtime. One thing that if you're doing this yourself with this product, you might want to break it up, like make small batches and use that, and then make a second batch. I think I did 2 or 3 batches for this look here. And One thing that is a little hard when you're doing it on yourself, especially for me as I was trying to film it for everyone, it will kind of drip. So you'll see me kind of scraping it back into place and then taking the excess and I kind of wrap it around to fit the mold that we're doing. That's because I'm standing upright. If you kind of tilt your head back, that wouldn't happen so much. But if it does, it's no big deal. Like I said, make it work. As Tim Gunn would say, make it work. And yeah, just work with it. It's, like I said, it has some playtime. So another thing that you'll see me doing here is I'm actually scraping the actual gash. I want that gash to be open. It's okay if some product gets in there, but for the most part, I want that gash to remain a gash, because the whole concept of this is that the 3rd degree, the silicone modeling compound that we're putting on, we're like building it up, that's basically our skin. And then that lip liner mark that we made is the wound itself. So we're building up our skin so we can create that indentation, that wound. Also, as I mentioned before, you don't have to use 3rd degree. You could use gelatin and glycerin. You could just Google SFX gelatin recipe and it'll come right up. And that would work very similarly to this 3rd degree product. It would be very hot, so you would have to be careful, but it would be the same consistency and it would dry and you would get basically the same effect. You could also use latex and cotton buildup, which is basically just using liquid latex and unrolled cotton balls. Again, Google or YouTube this method. It's very common in the special effects world. And the great thing about this method is that it is very cheap. Liquid latex you can find at the Halloween store for about $10, and gelatin, regular plain gelatin, is very cheap, as well as glycerin. You can find them both at the grocery store. And this is what we are left with. So hopefully you can get a clear understanding of the buildup that we made. And then moving on, I'm going to take my Skin Illustrator alcohol activated palette and some 99% isopropyl alcohol. And I am just going to pour that into a little cap here. And I'm taking the color Red Rum. Now, as I said, these are alcohol-activated paints, which means that they are only activated with 99% alcohol. You don't want to use water because it will ruin your paint. You don't want to use any less percentage of alcohol. You want to use 99% alcohol. But the great thing about these paints is that they are used on movie sets and things like that because water does not remove them. Water, sweat, whatever will not break them down. The only way you can remove them is with 99% alcohol. So they're very durable and they'll stand up to a lot. And another great thing about these paints is, as you can see me doing here, if you really want it to get into the cracks and the crevices of the look, you just add a little bit more alcohol, dilute it a little bit, dilute the paint, and just kind of let it drip down. And then if you want it more pigmented and you want it, more saturated in one area, you would just use less alcohol. And you can play with that to your liking. Again, though, I do just want to make it clear that you do not have to use alcohol-activated paints. I'm actually very new to using alcohol-activated paints. Previously, I've used water-activated paints, which are basically the same concept, except it's activated with water. Mayron makes a good one. You could get singles, you could get them in pallets, and it's the same thing. It's a dry paint. When you add water, it becomes a wet paint, and it would have the same effect. You could also use cream paints that you find at the Halloween store or things like that, and it may be a little trickier. You'd have to really blend them out and work with it, but I have no doubt that you could make it look believable just like this. Don't think because I'm using, these products that it's not going to turn out the same. I really believe that, you can almost make a look work with anything. It just takes time and patience and work with what you have. Alright, now I'm taking a deeper shade in the palette, and this is in the shade Bruise Tone, and I am just going in the deepest parts of the wound. So I used a more orangey blood color around the perimeter, and then just in the hollows there, we're going to be going in with this more cool toned, deeper red, and this is really going to further the illusion of depth in the wound. And now for the fun part, we are going in with Nye Scab Blood, or fresh scab. It basically just simulates coagulated blood, or thick blood, really chunky, and you can get this anywhere. Different brands make it. You can get it on Amazon. You can get this Nye brand. You can also find it in the Halloween store. It might be called Thick Blood or something like that, but really just a nice, thick, chunky blood. And I am putting this in the gash itself, and as you can see, I'm just kind of creating little chunks in certain random places just to make it look like the blood has built up. And now, even more fun, I am going in with Nye Stage Blood. They also have a dark blood, which is good for zombies and things like that, but we want the blood to look really fresh, so I am using Stage Blood. Again, Halloween store, you could get vampire blood, did you just hear that? Any blood will do. And the key to this here is, when you think you have enough blood, keep going. Really just get in there and bloody it up. I'm just taking a cotton swab and really, first I start out nice and slow, and then you will see just the mayhem. And another good thing about this particular blood is, if you saw it on the label there, it is the zesty mint flavor. So if you get it in your mouth, it's no big deal. It'll taste just like mint. Very nice. So something that you will see me do in a few moments here is really saturate the cotton swab and then press it into my neck, and that will release the blood in drips. And it's kind of difficult, but you can play with it. You can lean forward and help the blood drip along. But just remember, the key here is that there was a struggle. It doesn't have to be these perfect markings, like 6 blood drips right in a row. Like, just imagine, just have it really bloody and gory, and it doesn't matter if you get it on your hands, and it doesn't matter if you get it anywhere. Just roll with it. And like I said, for this look, the more blood, the better. It's not always the case in special effects looks, but I think this look, it really helps it. Alright, you guys, so here is a close-up of the final look. It's a lot of blood, but I think it works for this look, and I hope that you like it too. But if you do want to take it a step further, I am just adding some to my mouth there. Nice. And I'm just kind of dripping it down the side of my mouth. I wanted it, again, to look like kind of like gurgling, like it's coming up from your throat and it's all in my teeth. This is optional, but you can put this in your mouth. Like I said, it's a nice mint flavor, so it'll make your breath smell nice. But again, that's totally up to you.
Okay, so now the fun part. We're going to be taking it off. I'm going to show you just how easy it is to take this off, and then you just got to clean it up. I recommend showering, but let's zoom you in. Ooh. There we go. Perfect. So you just find a corner, and pull. And this was this prosthetic. So very similar to the old one. This one is just clean. This one still has the blood on it. So you just run this under the sink, wet it, and get all the blood off, and it should look like this. The alcohol paints should still stay on because they only come off with alcohol, so that's one step you don't have to worry about. You can literally just add blood when you throw this on. But this is our nice fresh one, and it's pretty durable. You could just put on some liquid latex or spirit gum, whatever you have, adhese it on, add some blood, bam, you're done. So I hope that this was fun to watch and entertaining, if nothing else. And I hope you learned something, and I'll just see you in my future Halloween tutorials. Bye, guys. Oh, God.